Hi, it's Chris Voss here from the ChrisVossShow.com, the ChrisVossShow.com. Here, Bob, we just want to share, of course, with you the latest in social media and technology. This is a phone versus comparison that we're going to be taking and doing, and this is from amzn.to. Both these phones, actually. There's the HTC One and the HTC One Mini, so this should be pretty interesting. So these phones are slightly different, but they kind of have the same sort of design and build, etc. to them in their thought processes and what went into them. So let's talk about them. Now, please give us a like, subscribe to us on YouTube, and be sure to subscribe because we get all the major phones from all the major phone companies. You're going to take and catch up on all the good stuff as we do. So let's start out by breaking down some of the feature sizes and everything about these two phones so we can get a good look at them. Thanks to AT&T.com for letting us take a look at them. So we've got in the HTC One, we have Android 4.2.2 in the Sense 5.0. Same thing with the HTC One Mini. We have the same 4.2.2. The size on the HTC One is 5.41 in height, 2.69 in width, and 0.37 in inches. Comparatively, it's 5.20 in height on the HTC One Mini, 2.49 in width, so the width's pretty much a little bit less wider, and 0.36 inches, so just a tad bit thinner. I got to tell you, the HTC One does feel comfortable in the hand, especially if you're used to an iPhone 5. The HTC One Mini does, I should say. The HTC One, of course, does feel comfortable in the hand, and it has a big, giant, glorious, beautiful screen. Now, the screen on the HTC One is a 4.7-inch screen. It's got 1080 by 920 pixels in a whopping 468 ppi, pixels per inch. Comparatively, on the HTC One Mini, it has a 4.3-inch screen, so 0.4 inches thinner, and a 720 by 1280 screen at 341 ppi. You can probably see already looking at the screen that there is a distinct difference in the quality and look of the screen and the presentation of colors and everything else. So that makes a difference. On the weight on the HTC One is a 5.04 ounces, which is kind of big on the heavy side, but it's a solid phone. 4.30 ounces on the HTC One Mini. Now, going down on the battery for the HTC One Mini, we have 2,300 milliamp hours. On the battery for the HTC One Mini, we have 1,800 milliamp hours. Hopefully I don't get my minis mixed up. I think you'll know we're always starting with the HTC One in these figures. Now, on the HTC One, we have a Qualcomm Snapdragon 600 quad-core chip, 1.7 megahertz, and 2 gigabytes of RAM, 32 gigabytes of built-in storage. Comparatively, on the HTC One Mini, we have a different chip, a Qualcomm Snapdragon 400 dual-core, not quad-core, as the HTC One Big Brother is, and it is a 1 gigabyte of RAM, 16 gigabytes of built-in storage. So a little bit different here in their sizes, storage, and everything else. The beautiful part is, you know, for $200 you can get the contract price on the HTC One, but for $100 you can get the contract price for the HTC One Mini. So you can pretty much choose to what fits your budget, and you can still get a great, awesome phone with it. Now, both phones have the 4 megapixel ultra pixels camera that they have in the phones. Basically, the ultra pixels are not quite as many pixels, but they're bigger. That's why they call them ultra. It's up to you to decide if they're better for your eye. I'm not too excited about it, but it tends to work. The camcorder on the HTC One is a 920 by 1080p camcorder. It's got a front-facing camera, 2.1 megapixels. Conversely, on the HTC One Mini, it does have also 1080p, 30 frames per second, but the front-facing camera is 1.6 megapixels. So you can see there's just a little bit difference between the two of them. One of the major differences between both of them is the HTC One has a IR in its power button up here where you can control TVs and anything with infrared remote. So you can do that. You can't do that with the HTC One Mini, and I don't know how important that is to a lot of people, really. But you have that ability to do that between the two of the devices. Okay, so one minor tweak that we've noticed in the UI that's kind of interesting between these two devices, it looks like there's something kind of new in the HTC One Mini. We're not sure if this is going to come out in the updates for the HTC One, but we definitely like it. Now you can see here there's a drop-down notifications menu where we can get into settings. Over here we have kind of this little kind of box, if you will, and when we click on it, it brings us into a different type of area where you can adjust different things by pressing buttons. Basically gives you a speed button, taking the setting. You can adjust sound profiles by hitting them, and as you can see, as you touch the button each time, it adjusts. Same thing with brightness, etc., etc. So an interesting thing that we're seeing coming out of whatchamacallit, it looks like we have a finally sexy maternity bra as well. There you go. It's on the YouTube video there. So that's kind of funny. So you can see here the front is pretty much about the same. Other than the front-facing cameras are different. The nice thing is they both have front-facing speakers. People tend to really like the front-facing speakers aspect of the HTC One. So let's take a look at how these are designed and built and all that good stuff. On the top, you can see here there's a definite difference in the design. There's not the nice beveled, pretty cut edges that you can see around the HTC One. If you really look right in here, you can see the beveled steel or aluminum edges. They've just put a plastic form around here, and of course there's the bevel edges on the back side that you don't see on the HTC One Mini. So definitely a difference in the build, and obviously a difference in quality, but you know, maybe if the internals are what you really care about with a phone, that's the most important part. You can see here on the top we have the, of course, power button and the earphone jack on the HTC One, and it has hidden inside of it an IR blaster, which the HTC One Mini does not. Down the the right-hand side, we have a beautiful volume rocker on the HTC One and just some simple buttons for the HTC One Mini. Across the bottom, we have got your microphone and your sync ports, so you can take and utilize those there. And down the other side, you can see that we've got your SIM card tray. So not much difference in the setup and layout, but definitely in the quality of the build if you really take a look at both of these. Okay, so now here you can see the back of the HTCs. A little bit different in the design, kind of much similar with the beautiful brushed aluminum back. You can see different layouts for the camera eyes and the flash. Now we're not going to be reviewing the cameras on these devices because they're both the same. There's really no difference from what we can tell between them. Their lamp flashes are definitely powerful and they do a great job. So we won't be doing that, but we'll be doing some benchmarking. So let's take a look at that. Okay, so here you can see the amzn.to benchmark 3.4 app scoring system. Now, this has twice the amount of memory, of course, in it, and it has a much faster processor chip. You can see here the score it gave the HTC One is 23,641 comparatively to 11,294. So pretty much twice as much faster at being a phone, and of course having double the memory helps, and also having that 1.7 gigahertz processor. Okay, so here we have a Geekbench 2 scoring between the two different devices. On the HTC One, it scored 2437 against 1388 for the HTC One Mini. So pretty interesting difference between these scores and everything else. Now, we use this as a great way to determine. Now, of course, like we mentioned before, it helps to have the faster processor. You can see here 1.73 gigahertz against 1.4. It also has 4 cores in the HTC One comparatively to only 2 cores in the HTC One Mini. So that makes a definite difference. You can see here the memory, of course, is double. You can see here the numbers. You're welcome to pause this video at any time if you want to take a look at the individual numbers. They're not quite as much fun as just the totals, but some people like that sort of thing. So there's some numbers for you. You can compare between the two. So, all in all, both devices are really great. You can go to ATT.com, that's ATT.com, and you can order yourself either the HTC One or the HTC One Mini, its little brother, if you will, and decide which one works best for you. There's definitely a price point difference between both these phones, but they're pretty much equally as good. I mean, one's definitely top of the line, and one's just kind of ratcheted down a bit, but it can hold its own. So really, it's up to you as to what you might want to take and get. Be sure to check them out. Thumbs up from Chris Voss. Chris Voss tested, Chris Voss approved. I like both the phones. They feel comfortable in the hand, and they're pretty awesome little buggers. Be sure to subscribe to us, like our videos, and be sure to come back often to the ChrisVossShow.com. Go to AT&T, tell them Chris Voss sent you. Thanks for coming by.